Welcome back everyone to 300 Days in Minecraft Mining Dimensions, episode 1. So today we're just going to cover the first 20 days. Usually I cut these into 10-day segments, but this big project took 20 days to do. And that is building our second silo. It's not quite the same as the first, and we are going to run back to base because I did forget something. Where the first silo just has the 4 sides and it's very circular in shape, this second silo is going to be quite a bit bigger. It's going to be 4 interconnected silos, much like the first, except for instead of having that inner side, we're going to have the extra 4 spots in the middle. And you'll be able to see it here in a minute once we remove this hill, because this hill is going to be in the way. So we are going to go ahead and pull out our excavator and our hammer and get going. It's not going to take too awful long. And again, it's wide, but again, just like the other silo, it's only going to be 10 blocks or 10 chests tall. I'm sorry for any thing or any odd sounds or anything like that. I am getting over a bit of a cold, so I'm sorry if you can hear that in my voice. And I have updated to 1.19.2, so all of the mods have updated. I haven't reset up some of the features on my editing mod yet, so you are actually going to see the light and dark cycles. And so, like I said before, I'm setting up the base now. It is going to be the 4 interconnected circles, except for where all of them meet, we are going to put in another spot where we can another chest tower, since we won't have that inner one where they connect. So we are still getting 12 different spots here for resources to go in. And this is just going to be our some of our mass storage. Yes, we will probably have to build another one. The other one is pretty much already filled up with just dirt and grass blocks. And we still have a lot more landscaping to do, because that's just the main city build. We haven't done any of the farmland around it or anything like that. However, I will be transforming some of those dirt blocks and that kind of stuff once we actually get into the city build into other types of dirt, some coarse dirt, which of course is a regular dirt block with gravel, and possibly, well, you can't craft rooted dirt, so that's a no-go. But we will be tracking down a lush forest to try and get some rooted dirt as well, to make some of the outside field path blocks. We are looking at trying to do a path block, coarse dirt, and rooted dirt paths for the actual fields outside of our city. But if that doesn't work out and we don't find enough rooted dirt, there's a couple of options I can do instead. We could always use some mud. Personally, I think the texture is a bit too dark. We could use some cobblestone. But again, there's a couple of other things that we could do to still get that look. Concrete or concrete powder might work as well. Have to fiddle with that palette a little bit. And now we are doing the redstone for that, and it is fairly simple. Just a comparator going into, or monitoring the hopper. Once the hopper is filled, or is starting to get filled, it sends a signal into the comparator. The comparator is into a block. Block is into a redstone, or a redstone wire that lights into another stone block, in this case, which is right next to the redstone lantern, which will light up the lantern. With it being right next to you, it will only light up the lantern right next to it instead of being strong enough to light up both the lantern above and below it, which is where you get that telltale ability to tell how full your chests are. We are going to go ahead and put 2 stone and 2 cobblestone in this, and that is going to take 4 of our 12 slots. Probably have some deep slate in the other corners, and this is going to be mainly for our building blocks. So we've got dirt in the one, and we are going to have a lot of the other blocks in the rest of it. So we're going to have stone, cobblestone, which we won't be gathering a whole bunch of cobblestone from here on out. With us having silk touch on our hammer, it'll be a lot more stone, and so as that cobblestone runs out, those may transform into stone depending on if we still have a ton of that. If not, I'm not quite sure what we use. Maybe some terracotta, maybe some wood, I'm not sure. But the other one, we're probably going to have 2 for deep slate and cobble deep slate, 1 for each. Not that I usually use the silk touch on the deep slate. You can't use deep slate for a lot of things. It doesn't go into the stairs and that kind of stuff like cobble deep slate does, so most of it will just be broken down back into cobble deep slate as soon as I get a chance to. And most of the rest of this is just going the inner workings of our tower. And it does give sort of that clover look, which I think is kind of nice. The roof design I did on this one is a bit interesting. I'm not sure I like it. Go ahead and tell me how you like it, or if you don't like it, in the comments below. I did something very different than I did for the other one. They do link up being so close together. But that was sort of the point. There is a 2-block corridor between the two, so you can still get to the back half of the other silo, but I wanted them to sort of be close and to sort of be interconnected. And they do connect roof rise and platform wise, where I can teleport onto one and I've still got access to the other one. We might eventually do another some more sets of smaller silos around it, or even a bigger silo. We've got enough room over there. To the upper right hand corner of this for another big one, or we might just do a smaller one there and do a bigger one elsewhere. This is again more of our bulk storage. It's going to be the same exact block, and we don't have too many blocks where we get a ton of the same exact thing. And with that, we are just about done with the redstone workings on the inside. There is a small gap where it looks like nothing is going on right here in a minute, and that is me looking at the bottom and realizing I forgot I didn't do the redstone correctly to light up that bottom lantern, and that can be a little bit tricky, figuring out how to light up that bottom lantern, because you don't have as much space to get that bottom redstone lantern working correctly. And as you can see, those redstone lanterns going out as I fix the bottom lanterns as we go around, and I fix that redstone work. I need to go back through the other silo and fix it over there. But all of those bottoms lanterns should be out, except for that middle one where it's got some stone already put in. And here I am going through and putting the first touches of the roof on. Our upside down staircase edging has become fairly typical in my builds, just to add some depth to that roof. And again, as I said before, this is a little bit, I did do this roof a little bit differently. And then we are going to go ahead and use the cobblestone, the stone brick slabs to go ahead and fill this all in, leaving room for the hoppers, of course. I think next time if we do this, or if we go back through and I end up redoing this, I'm going to use stone with a variance of andesite slabs thrown in as well, maybe even some polished andesite to go in there as well. Not 100% sure, but give it some gradient rather than just being the stone brick slabs that I have right now. And as I go through, I did try a couple of other variants, trying to get the look that I wanted, but also try and add some splash of color so it's not all just the gray of the stone. And I did use some andesite in here, so the steps up to all of the chest for our outer tier of chest towers is all polished andesite. I did try it with granite just to give it a different color, and it did not look great. Too startling of a switch. The andesite looked much better. I thought about possibly doing diorite, but I figured we would probably have the same problem. So unfortunately we do get the gray look going all the way around. And I did try and think of a cover for the inside ones, but I figured just having the hopper there and chest looked better. Leave a message for me in the comments if you think, or hop over to my Discord if you've got any suggestions for some different blocks that I could use on the hopper surrounding that fountain in the center. And I did add that fountain just as a decorative piece, just so it doesn't look like a huge empty space in the center. And here you can see the fountain starting to disappear, and that is because I am putting the first touches of the roof on. We have a sort of cathedral shaped top in the very center. And I didn't design this roof beforehand, I just sort of freehanded it. So you can see where I go through and I make some mistakes, and then I go back through and I fix them. I wasn't quite sure how to do this roof to make it look somewhat decent, and so we just ended up doing a slab roof with a focus onto the center and to the inner joined places where it meets. So we got sort of this corridor look that goes into each of the cardinal directions, and then we have a sort of spiral out from there to cover the rest of it. All being slowly on a slope, gradual slope down. It's interesting watching the replay after this, and putting most of the audio in this after from the replay mod, and watching all of the mobs go by. I think that is like the fourth pillager patrol that I've seen go by that I didn't actually see because in game, because I was working on building and focused on that and not on what was going on around me. Did go through and light this up with torches. I will go back through and I'm either thinking either some sea lanterns or some frog lights. Inside the fountain in the middle, I am wanting to do some sea pickles as soon as I find some to give the light for the center there. And I'm thinking probably a sea lantern in the center. And maybe some frog lights around scattered throughout as well. We've got some torches in the bottom to make sure that the bottom of it, the inside of this, doesn't just become a mob farm, just like we do on the other side. I don't have the, like I said, it still needs some work inside. I don't have the scaffolding center like I do in the other one, but we will be working on that eventually. So as you can see, we've got the one side done. I do come back through and I do put in the spruce supports that I do like, that show in the roof at the edges. I would love to have done a sort of support beam like in the center, that it was spruce instead of that top one, or even just the side ones being stone. I would have loved to make them spruce. Unfortunately, slabs for wood only come in the plank styles. I would love if they came in like the log styles, because that is the look that's going on throughout the rest of this. Unfortunately, they do not. And because I did a slab roof and not a full block roof, it just wasn't possible. Figuring out that join spot was kind of tricky as well, but eventually I got it figured out. And that is our build, for the most part, finished. So I am going to say thank you for watching this episode of 400 Days in Minecraft Survival Mining Dimensions, and have a great and wonderful Minecraft day. Like and subscribe if you liked this video, and have a great and wonderful day.